will be preserved as part of the final exhibit record for the proposed CATPA rule changes being presented today that CBPS is required by statute to maintain. Now, for those attending online, I will briefly review some of the features available through Google Meet intended to enhance or facilitate your participation and experience. There's a toolbar located at the bottom of the Google Meet screen. Drawing attention to the toolbar, there are several different icons. I will begin our review with the microphone icon. The middle left and the lower middle left of the Google Meet screen is the microphone icon. There should be a diagonal line through the microphone icon. The diagonal line indicates that the microphone icon is muted and not transmitting any sound. All participants in today's hearing are initially muted to avoid technical delays or other issues that may negatively affect the audio quality or clarity of this recording. The Colorado State Patrol has a responsibility to preserve an accurate record of all comments and statements made as part of today's hearing, and kindly request your cooperation to do so. Unless speaking, it is requested that all participants mute or leave their microphones muted to limit distracting background noise. Video icon. Immediately to the right of the microphone is a video camera icon. Clicking on this icon will turn on or turn off access to the video camera on your computer. All participants presenting on behalf of the Colorado State Patrol today are requested to turn on their cameras when presenting or responding to any comments or questions. All other participants may use their camera at their discretion, but the use of the camera when speaking is highly encouraged and appreciated. If any bandwidth issues are experienced during the hearing, we may request participants turn off cameras when not actively presenting or speaking. Closed captioning icon. The next icon to the right of the video camera icon on the Google Meet toolbar is the CC or closed captioning icon. If you would like to use closed captioning to enhance your experience, click on the CC icon. Clicking on the CC again will deactivate the feature. You may activate and deactivate the feature at your discretion throughout the hearing. We have activated the CC icon on our end for the purposes of accessibility. Raised hand. To the left of the closed captioning icon in the center of the Google Meet toolbar is an icon that looks like the outline of a hand. When inactive, it appears as an empty outline. When you click on the icon and it is activated, the hand icon fills in. Clicking and activating the hand during the hearing will communicate to other participants that you have a comment or question that you want to share. When you are recognized, either you or the hearing moderator will need to unmute your microphone to allow you to share your questions or comments. Red telephone button. The very last icon on the right of the Google Meet toolbar is a red circle within which is a picture of a handset. Clicking on this button will disconnect you from the hearing. If you click on this icon by mistake, you can log back into the hearing using the same link that you logged into the hearing initially. Chat box. On the extreme right edge of the Google Meet screen and left of the triangle icon is the chat box icon. Clicking on the chat box icon will raise the chat box dialog screen for this hearing, allowing you to type and exchange written messages with all other participants during this hearing. This chat will also be used to post information during this public hearing. All chat messages will be recorded as part of the exhibits for this rulemaking. Opening the chat box is encouraged, since information will be shared throughout the hearing using the chat box feature. Now, Amanda, can we see if we have any phone participants? Do not. Okay. It does not appear that we have any participants attending by phone, so I will not go through any of the phone features. So our review of the information completed. I now welcome Colorado State Patrol Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Downing to open and call the public rulemaking to order for the proposed CATPA rule amendments.
Thank you, Angie. Good morning. I hereby call this public rulemaking to order. It is 9:08 a.m. on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. The in-person location of this hearing is occurring in the first floor conference room of the RE/MAX building located at 710 Kipling in Lakewood, Colorado, 80215. This rulemaking hearing is being held consistent with Section 24.4.103 4A of the Colorado Revised Statutes of the Colorado Administrative Procedures Act. For the record, I am Lieutenant Colonel Josh Downing of the Colorado State Patrol. Present today and participating in the public hearing on behalf of the Colorado State Patrol are the following. Colorado Senior Assistant Attorney General Cole Woodward, Colorado State Patrol Rulemaking Coordinator Angie Page, the staff of the Automobile Theft Prevention Authority, a business unit within the Colorado State Patrol, including its director, Robert Force, Grant Specialist Kenny Lyons, Grant Specialist Amanda Odell, Caleb not here, Aviation Electronics Technician Second Class Petty Officer of the U.S. Navy and Skill Bridge Intern Ryan Santa. To effectively document attendance of today's hearing, all participants attending virtually online have been provided a specific Google Meet that will record their attendance. Participants attending in person should sign in using the attendance register located near the entry of the conference room. Attendance information will be maintained as a part of the final exhibit record supporting today's hearing. Any written comments received before today's hearing concerning the changes proposed to the rules being presented this morning have been included in the exhibit record supporting these rules. The exhibit file is available to the public online through the Colorado Department of Public Safety Rulemaking Information website at https://publicsafety.colorado.gov/get-involved/rules and regulations. A link for this website appears now or will appear momentarily in the chat. Following the presentation of the changes proposed to the rules and any supporting exhibits, the hearing will be open to comments and questions from the public. The scope of any comments or questions should be limited to only the rules being presented during the hearing today. Any verbal or written questions received today will become part of the exhibits supporting the rulemaking. If participants have written documents they want to submit, please either leave them next to the sign-in register if attending in person, or email them to the Colorado State Patrol Rulemaking Coordinator, Angelina Page, before the end of today's public hearing at angelina.page@state.co.us. A relatively informal procedure will be applied to today's hearing. Shortly, following an introduction, the proposed changes to the Colorado Automobile Theft Prevention Authority rules will be presented. Exhibits supporting the rulemaking will be introduced and identified for the record, and a brief explanation of why changes are being proposed to the rules will be provided. It is important to note that stakeholder contact information is largely redacted from all public-facing exhibits available in the office and online. Email and address information for stakeholders and interested parties and unredacted copies of the exhibits are available upon specific request and delivered to the Colorado State Patrol Records Unit. Any participants who desire to make comments or ask questions concerning the changes to the rules being presented today will be allowed to do so. Participants with comments and questions attending online may click on the hand icon in the Google Meet to indicate that they would like to speak, and then they will be recognized when the period for public comments and questions is open following the rules reading. If we have participants attending by phone, we will specifically poll those attending for any comments or questions after hearing from those attending virtually online and before hearing from those attending in person. Participants attending in person who would like to ask questions or make comments have the option to indicate in advance if they intend to do so, and will ask those in attendance again if there are any participants in attendance with questions or comments before closing the public comment period and moving forward. Once there has been adequate opportunity provided to all in attendance to share their questions or comments on the changes proposed to the rules, I will invite our representative from the Colorado Attorney General's office to enter comments on the record relevant to the rule changes proposed and the rulemaking procedures observed by the Colorado State Patrol leading up to and throughout this hearing. After receiving the comments from the Colorado Attorney General's office representative, and unless circumstances require otherwise, I will close the public comment period for the rules. After this, I will enter findings on the record concerning the compliance of this rulemaking with the Colorado Administrative Procedures Act. I will then officially close and adjourn the public hearing. Before we hear about the changes proposed to 8 CCR 1507-50, the Colorado Automobile Theft Prevention Authority rules, which we will hereafter be referred to as the CATPA rules, a request for the rulemaking coordinator page to review the rulemaking requirements the Colorado State Patrol had to complete before today related to these rules to hold this hearing.
I'm privileged to do so, Lieutenant Colonel Downing. The purpose of today's hearing is to provide the public an opportunity to comment on the changes proposed to the CATPA rules. The changes proposed arise out of both an internal review of the rules, comments from the CATPA board, and in response to recent legislation amending statutes relevant to auto theft prevention grants reviewed by the CATPA board. Before today's hearing and the filing of the Notice of Public Rulemaking with the Colorado Secretary of State and the Department of Regulatory Agencies, copies of the red line rules identifying the changes proposed were sent out to stakeholders, interested parties, and governmental colleagues with a letter dated March 11th, 2024, inviting questions and comments in response. Additional letters dated March 22nd, 2024, providing information on today's hearing were sent out to stakeholders, interested parties, and governmental colleagues following the filing of a red line version of the CATPA rules to the Colorado Secretary of State and the Department of Regulatory Agencies. A copy of the red line rules, as they were filed with the Colorado Secretary of State and the Department of Regulatory Agencies, followed on March 25th, 2024. Same parties, and comments and questions were again encouraged. All state departments engaging in rulemaking are required to file any proposed rules or changes to existing rules with the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies Office of Economic Competitiveness, the OECNF, to determine if a rule or change to an existing rule will harm economic competitiveness or negatively affect small business in Colorado. If a rule is determined to harm or have negative impacts, the submitting agency must complete and submit a cost-benefit analysis consistent with the statute. The OECNF did not determine there to be a negative impact on small businesses arising out of any of the changes being proposed to CATPA rules. The Notice of Public Rulemaking for the CATPA rules was filed with the Colorado Secretary of State and the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies on March 22nd, 2024. The Notice of Public Rulemaking for the CATPA rules was subsequently published in the Colorado Register dated April 10th, 2024. Having read this information into the record, I would like to invite Robert Force, Director of the Colorado Automobile Theft Prevention Authority, to speak briefly about CATPA and its purpose, the recent legislation influencing the changes being proposed, and then present the proposed changes to the CATPA rules and supporting exhibits.
Thank you. Thank you, Angie, and thank you everyone for in attendance today's hearing. The Colorado Auto Theft Prevention Authority, or CATPA for short, was created in 2003 as a result of House Bill 2003-1251 and is authorized under Section 42.5.112 of the Colorado Revised Statutes. Its mission is to deter and reduce motor vehicle theft and insurance fraud through the support of statewide cooperative efforts focused on generating funds for effective law enforcement and prosecution of automobile theft and automobile theft-related crime, and increasing public awareness through partnerships between industry and state government. The Colorado State Patrol provides administrative support through a business unit called the CATPA office to support the efforts of the CATPA board. The The CATPA board is composed of 11 appointed representatives, 7 of whom are appointed by the governor of Colorado to provide funding for addressing statewide automobile theft. The CATPA office represents the primary contact to facilitate the solicitation, management, and monitoring of grant funds awarded by the CATPA board. Under the supervision of the Department of Public Safety, the CATPA board is responsible for supporting the automobile theft prevention grant program, inclusive of processes for the announcement, review, and recommendation for awarding of grant applications to qualified applicants proposing programs consistent with the CATPA initiatives to reduce motor vehicle theft and motor vehicle theft-related criminal activity and improve deterrence and awareness thereof. In response to significant increases in automobile theft and related crimes since 2020, Governor Polis and the Colorado General Assembly focused their attention on addressing motor vehicle theft statewide during the 2022 regular legislative session. This focus produced 2 pieces of legislation, Senate Bill 23097 and Senate Bill 23257, which became law in June of 2023. Senate Bill 23097 made several changes to the offenses involving motor vehicles when committed by a person who is not the owner of the motor vehicle, among them the updates to the penalties for motor vehicle theft. Among other changes, Senate Bill 23097 brought greater equity to the application of the penalty, no longer letting the severity of the penalty be dictated by the value of the vehicle stolen. This statute change recognizes the equity in the victimization of automobile theft to an individual or to a family, the economic impact of automobile theft statewide, and the need to lower the per capita rate of statewide automobile theft, considering Colorado leads the nation with the highest automobile theft rate from 2020 through 2023. Senate Bill 23257 augmented general fund money to enhance CATPA's effort in addressing statewide automobile theft. This bill provides a 1-year funding supplement that further expanded CATPA's authorization to consider grant programs for supporting victims of automobile theft and enhancing and upgrading the automobile theft tracking and reporting system. Supporting victims of automobile theft is not only new to the CATPA program, but appears to be the first of its kind nationwide. Senate Bill 23257 also specifies the eligibility of specific funding for automobile theft initiatives and statutorily controls the use of general fund money versus a historical CATPA money received through a $1 per automobile insurance policy fee. It is with this legislation and CATPA's statutory mandate in mind that the Colorado State Patrol, as a section of the Colorado Department of Public Safety, determined changes to the CATPA rules were necessary to remain consistent with relevant statutes and to improve the overall clarity of the CATPA rules. The changes being proposed to the CATPA rules are intended, first, to respond to changes introduced into Section 425.112 of the Colorado Revised Statutes through Senate Bill 23257, expanding the scope of the CATPA grant program to include programs supporting victims of automobile theft and to promote the enhancement of technology used to counter automobile theft and automobile theft-related crimes. Secondly, to respond to other changes introduced into Section 425.112 of the Colorado Revised Statutes through Senate Bill 257, affecting the application, review, and funding recommendations of the CATPA board for programs designed to counteract automobile theft and automobile theft-related crimes. Third is to clarify the CATPA grant funding process and initiatives for which grant funding may be available and the guidelines and criteria according to which the CATPA board will consider all grant applications received to determine eligibility, review, and award recommendations. Fourth is to provide grammatical corrections and definitions to terms to guide the CATPA board in applying terminologies and processes consistent with 42.5.112 of the Colorado Revised Statutes and through Senate Bill 23257. Fifth is to clarify when approval of funding is final. And sixth, to update references and websites cited within the rules and address general grammar, formatting, and verbiage updates throughout. Several exhibits concerning this rulemaking are available online through the Colorado Department of Public Safety Rulemaking Information website. And Amanda has just posted that website in the chat box. The link for this site is posted in or will be posted shortly in the chat. Sorry, Amanda already posted it. The public may also request copies of these exhibits by contacting the Colorado State Patrol Central Records Unit. For the record, I will now identify each exhibit by number and description. Exhibit number 1 is a notice of public rulemaking for the CATPA rules. Exhibits 2 through 5 are the rulemaking documents for the CATPA rules confirming, first, the filing of the notice of public rulemaking with the Colorado Secretary of State, the filing of the notice of public rulemaking with the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies. Third, the publication of notice of public rulemaking and copy of the red line rules filed with the Colorado Secretary of State, published in the Colorado Register dated April 10th, 2024. And lastly, a screenshot of the web posting of the notice of rulemaking, updated red line rules to the CDPS rulemaking information website. Exhibit number 6 is a confirmation from the Department of Regulatory Agencies that a no cost benefit analysis was determined to be required for the amendments proposed to the CATPA rules. Exhibit 7 and 8 are the pre-filing stakeholder outreach email and letter with red line rule versions 1 and responses. Exhibits 9 and 10 are the post-filing stakeholder outreach email letter with red line rules version 2 and responses. Exhibit number 11 is a red line CATPA rules version 3 as available online through the CDPS rules website and to the public dated May 2nd, 2024. Exhibit number 12 is a memo to maintain a permanent record of rulemaking for the CDPS rules. Exhibits 13 and 14 are the public rulemaking hearing record of attendance and the public rulemaking hearing record of today's hearing. So I would request that exhibits 1 through 12 be accepted into the hearing record as they have been identified. I further request that exhibits 13 and 14, the attendance records and the hearing record, be accepted upon their completion after the conclusion of today's hearing. I have no further rule changes or exhibits to discuss concerning the CATPA rules. I hereby return this hearing to Lieutenant Colonel Downing.
Thank you, Director Forrest. Exhibits 1 through 12 are accepted into the hearing record, and exhibits 13 and 14 will be admitted upon their completion following the conclusion of today's hearing. The hearing is now open to receive any comments or questions from the public on the changes being proposed to the CATPA rules. Angie, do we have any participants who have indicated that they have comments or questions about the changes to the proposed CATPA rules?
Amanda, can we see the list of participants, see if we have any hands up? No hands are raised. Not seeing any hands up online. Looking to our room. All right, Lieutenant Colonel Downing, it does not appear that we have any comments or questions concerning the changes to the proposed CATPA rules.
Thank you. Hearing that there are no further comments or questions on the changes proposed to the CATPA rules, I invite Senior Assistant Attorney General Cole Woodward of the Colorado Attorney General's Office to make comments concerning the changes proposed to the CATPA rules and the rulemaking procedures that have been followed by the Colorado State Patrol relevant to this hearing.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Downing. It is my opinion that the rulemaking procedures carried out and followed by the Colorado State Patrol as a division of the Colorado Department of Public Safety for the changes proposed to the CATPA rules are consistent and in compliance with the Colorado Administrative Procedures Act. On behalf of the Colorado Attorney General's Office, I request that any written comments received before the end of today's hearing be included in the exhibit record maintained for these rules by the Colorado Department of Public Safety for this rulemaking. Additionally, I request that any typographical or numerical errors identified in the proposed changes to the rules be corrected before their final adoption. I have no further comments.
Thank you for your comments, Senior Assistant Attorney General Woodward. We appreciate your attendance today. Having heard comments from the Attorney General's Office on the changes proposed to the CATPA rules, I make the following findings. First, the Colorado Automobile Theft Prevention Authority Board has the authority to make a recommendation to the Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Public Safety concerning the adoption of these rules. Second, the Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Public Safety has the authority to promulgate rules for the administration of the Colorado Automobile Theft Prevention Authority Board under Section 42.5.112, subset 3F of the Colorado Revised Statutes. Third, the record supports the development of a board recommendation to the Executive Director concerning these rules. Fourth, as a division of the Colorado Department of Public Safety, Colorado State Patrol has met the requirements of the Colorado Administrative Procedures Act and that this hearing has been held consistent with the APA. Fifth, the public and the CATPA board have each been provided opportunities to comment on these rules before and during this hearing. Six, any written comments or questions received before today's hearing concerning the proposed changes to the CATPA rules will be considered in any decision and recommendation made by the CATPA board and will be included together with any recommendation to the Director of Colorado Department of Public Safety concerning the CATPA rules. 7, any written or oral comments or questions received today will be considered in any decision made by the CATPA board and will be included together with any recommendation to the Director of the Colorado Department of Public Safety concerning the CATPA rules. 8, a permanent record of this rulemaking will remain on file with the Colorado Department of Public Safety and will be available for public inspection. 9th, the CATPA board will take appropriate action concerning a recommendation on the proposed changes to the CATPA rules. 10, the Colorado Department of Public Safety Executive Director Stan Hilke will take actions as necessary and appropriate concerning the adoption of these changes proposed to the CATPA rules in response to this rulemaking and the recommendation forwarded to the Director by the CATPA board. The time is now 9:31 a.m. Again, thank you for your interest and attendance and support of this process. The public rulemaking hearing is now closed.
Thank you again to everyone who has joined us this morning. Your participation in the rulemaking process is very important, and this process is always much better for it. Please remember that the rules and exhibits presented today are available to view and download online to the Colorado Department of Public Safety Rulemaking Information website. If you missed the website information earlier, the address is https://public safety, all as one word, period, Colorado, period, GOV, /get involved /rules and regulations. This web address will be posted once more in the chat before we go offline. If you have any comments or feedback that you would like to share about today's hearing or this rulemaking overall, you may share those thoughts by emailing me, Angelina Page, at Angelina, just like the movie star, .page, like a piece of paper, @state.co.us. My email will appear momentarily in the chat. All feedback and comments received will be shared with the Colorado Department of Public Safety Rulemaking Information Group, and that's to help and improve and enrich our future rulemaking efforts. Have a great afternoon and stay safe, Colorado.